there! This is Ashley, your host for the Ready, Set, Depart podcast. Traveling with your family can be a disaster, but it doesn't have to be. Let's go! Hello, and welcome back to the Ready, Set, Depart podcast, your podcast all about making memories with your family. We are so glad you're here. When you think of big trees, where do you think of? Well, I used to think of Muir Woods in Northern California, but I now think of Redwood National Park as well. So today, we're going to talk about why you need to go to Redwood National Park. Redwood National Park is actually called Redwood National and State Parks. As people came west, they saw the giant redwood trees as an unending source of wood. But by the early 1900s, much of those trees were beginning to disappear. So the Save the Redwoods League made it their mission to save what was left. In the 1920s, their efforts were rewarded with the creation of 3 state parks in California: Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park, Del Norte Coast Redwoods State Park, and Prairie Creek Redwood State Park. Then, in 1968, the federal government extended the reach of those 3 state parks by creating Redwood National Park. So, that is why it is now called Redwood National and State Parks. Go to our website at readysetdepart.com to see a map of the whole park, or whole parks, I guess you would say. It is a huge area. Here's a travel tip for you. Redwood National and State Parks are free to enter unless you are parking at one of the camping locations. Check their website for the fees on that. So, why should you make the trip to Redwood National and State Parks? Here are 14 reasons. Reason number 1 to go to Redwood is the big trees. In the Pacific Northwest, there are big trees. We have them in our backyards. So there was a moment when I was planning this trip when I questioned whether this was going to be a good idea. I mean, how big could these trees be? Let me tell you, they are big. Like big. Like really, really big. They were awe-inspiringly big. So even if you're used to what you think might be big trees, you haven't seen anything yet. Reason number 2 to visit Redwood: the walks and the hikes. I've mentioned before how Brent and I disagree whether something is a hike or a walk. I feel that if you were on any sort of dirt, it's a hike, but Brent feels that hikes have more to do with elevation gain. A ranger agreed with Brent when Trooper told her where we had hiked, but at any rate, we went on a couple of great hikes, and there is one hike that I would love to go on when we go back. The Stout Grove hike in Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park was beautiful. We loved it. It was our first look at the huge trees and well worth it. Simperee Trail, also in Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park, and by the way, that was our favorite state park all around, is another amazing hike. There are a bunch of root balls from trees that have fallen, and they are gigantic. They just show how big these trees really are. Take a look at our website, readysetdepart.com, to see a couple of pictures. The Ladybird Johnson Grove Trail is a more intense hike to get to, but a wonderful hike as well. We were glad to have our walking sticks with us because it was a lot of up and down. A year after Redwood National Park was created, President Nixon dedicated this grove to former First Lady Ladybird Johnson for all her environmental work. Now, I was remembering this story and I was pretty sure I was right, but when I was double checking that I remembered it correctly, I saw that only 5% of the world's old growth forests remain, and nearly half of that is in Redwood National and State Parks. That's kind of amazing, right? Our last hike was to Big Tree in Prairie Creek Redwood State Park. The Big Tree definitely stands up to its name. It is 68 feet around and is the 13th largest coastal redwood, standing at 309 feet. They estimate that it is 1,500 years old. Just imagine what it's seen in its life. And I know trees don't see, but just imagine what it has stood there for during its life. Amazing. The quote unquote hike to Big Tree is so easy. It's only about 250 feet from the parking area. So this is a must-see for all hiking levels. We continued on the 0.3 mile circle trail to see more of the area, but you don't have to in order to see the Big Tree. There is one hike that I would like to go on the next time we're at the park. It's called Fern Canyon in Prairie Creek Redwood State Park. It looks like such a beautiful hike. Plus, it's where a scene from the Jurassic Park Lost World movie was filmed. You may remember a scene where one of the bad guys wandered off to go to the bathroom and got lost. He gets chased down a riverbed and in all likelihood was killed by compies, which are the tiny dinosaurs from the movie. That scene was filmed in Fern Canyon. We didn't go on this hike because it had been raining a lot and part of the road to the trail is dirt. So it would be mostly mud at this point. Plus, when you're on the trail, it's in a riverbed. So it has to wait till next time. Reason number 3 to go to Redwoods is Crescent City. Crescent City, California is a cute little coastal town that is right next to the national and state parks. It is mostly known for the Battery Point Lighthouse that we will talk about in a bit, but it's a great place to do a little souvenir shopping. There's a Walmart if you need anything, and if the Seaquick restaurant is still open when you go, their hamburgers are yummy. Reason number 4 to go to Redwood are banana slugs. There must be something in the water in the Redwoods because they grow some big slugs. Banana slugs can grow to almost 10 inches long and are a bright yellow. Some even have brown spots, which makes their name fit them perfectly. We did see 2 banana slugs while we were in the Redwoods, but they were nowhere near 10 inches long. Still quite interesting, though, if you like creepy crawly things, which I don't mind unless they're eating my plants. Reason number 5 to go to Redwood is geocaching. There is a rule against geocaches in national parks, but the same isn't true about state parks. So geocaching is a fun thing to do when you're in the Redwoods. If you don't remember what geocaches are, go back to episode 3 of the Ready, Set, Depart podcast. That's all about planning a trip, and you'll get to know it a little bit better. But here's a travel tip. Don't forget to download the caches you want to find because cell service among the giant trees is spotty at best. Reason number 6 to go to Redwood National and State Parks are the trees. I mean, these trees are so big. I don't know if I can adequately describe how big these trees are. They're big, 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 big. Check out our website to see a picture of Trooper next to one of the trees. At first, you just think, oh, that's a nice tree. Then you realize the little red dot is Trooper's head. It's amazing. Reason number 7 to go to the Redwoods is whale watching. Kind of crazy to think about that amongst the trees. But yes, you can often see whales from Klamath River Overlook, which is just outside of Crescent City. From what I read, November, December, March, and April are the best times to see the migrating gray whales. We were there in April and sadly didn't see any, but it is a beautiful view of the ocean from the overlook, so give it a try. Reason number 8 to go to around the Redwoods is to drive through a tree. I don't know why this was something that I had to do, but when I saw that you could drive through a tree, we just had to go. It's nothing special. You pay your $5 at the bottom of the hill, wait your turn, and then drive through the tree. My SUV barely made it, but it was so fun seeing Trooper pop his head out the sunroof. Would we do it again? Probably not, but I'm glad we got the picture and the memories. There are quite a few drive-through trees in the area, but the one we went to was just outside of Klamath. I just want to note that the tree is still alive. They naturally grow with a hollow inside, so people just made it into a tunnel. Reason number 9 to go around the Redwoods is Paul Bunyan and Babe the Big Blue Ox. While you're on the way to drive through that tree, you might notice a tall figure on the side of the road with a big blue ox. That's Paul Bunyan and his best friend Babe. Paul Bunyan is a folk hero out here in the West. He is known for his superhuman size and ability to cut down any tree with his trusty sidekick Babe at his side. What I remember of Paul Bunyan is from a Disney video from when I was young. Go to our website to click on the link to see that video. Paul Bunyan and Babe are at the entrance of the Trees of Mystery. There's a hotel there, a pretty interesting museum with Native American artifacts, a canopy trail, and a trail through the Redwoods. We didn't go on the trail, but we did walk through the museum and gift shop. There are nice bathrooms there, so it's worth a stop. Reason number 10 to go to the Redwoods is Battery Point Lighthouse. Like I said before, Battery Point Lighthouse is a popular stop in Crescent City. You can walk out to the lighthouse at low tide, so take a look at when that'll be. It's a cute little lighthouse that sits on a pretty decent hill, so keep that in mind when deciding to walk out there. According to the plaque on the lighthouse, it is one of the first lighthouses on the California coast. The lighthouse was completed in 1856 because the rugged terrain made it nearly impossible to travel any other way in the area. Travel tip: definitely wear sunscreen, which we didn't because there are a few trees out there and the sun gets hot. Reason number 11 to keep in mind when you're going to Redwoods are the twisty, windy, turny roads to get there. This is less about why you should go there and more of a travel tip. To get to Redwood, you have to drive through some twisty, mountainous roads. If you, like our family, have anyone who gets car sick, definitely pull out all the stops when coming or going. We had Trooper take some Dramamine on our way home, but it didn't kick in time, so we spent some time on the side of the road. Learn from our mistakes. It's a twisty, turny road. Reason number 12 to go to Redwood are the drives. Even if they're twisty and turny, one of the cool things about Redwood National and State Parks is that you have to drive through it to get to Crescent City. The drive is gorgeous, but sometimes the trees are really close to the road. But if you give them plenty of space, it's an enjoyable time while you get from one place to the other. Here's a travel tip. Want to drive amongst some of the biggest trees in Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park? Drive the Howland Hill Road. It is a narrow gravel road that takes you through some beautiful forest. This is how you get to Stout Trail and Boy Scout Trail, which is a much longer hike that we didn't do. We loved the woods and were among the only ones driving it, which was nice because it does get narrow at places. It's only about 10 miles long, but it takes you close to an hour to drive because it is a gravel road. Here's a travel tip about the travel tip. Enter the Howland Hill Road from Crescent City. It's a much easier entrance. Reason number 13 to go to Redwood National and State Parks are Roosevelt elk. What? Okay, guys. So do you remember last time when I talked about the Roosevelt elk in Olympic National Park? I said that was the only place where you could find them. Well, I was wrong. And actually had forgotten that I'd looked into this when we went to Redwoods. Roosevelt elk used to inhabit most of the Pacific Northwest coastline, from British Columbia, Canada, to Northern California. The largest population is definitely in the Olympic National Park, but there are still a few in Redwood. So you could see some of these huge elk when you're visiting either park. Always remember these animals are wild. A ranger once told us that if we couldn't cover the animal with our thumb when our arm was extended, we were too close. Give them plenty of room so they can be here for years to come. Reason number 14 is my absolute favorite reason to go to Redwood National Park. It's where Endor was filmed. Where are my Star Wars fans at? Do you remember in Return of the Jedi, Endor? It was filmed near Redwood National and State Parks. Where exactly it was filmed has been lost to the ages. But the theory that made the most sense to me was that it was filmed just outside of one of the parks in an area that was going to be logged, so nothing's left. But when you're walking amongst those giant trees, you can almost hear the speeder bike zooming past. You can see where the Ewoks might be hiding, and you can feel a part of the movies in a way that you haven't before. We loved Redwoods National and State Parks. We were only there for a week, but we could have easily stayed another week. Definitely put it on your list of places to go and make some family memories. Hey, Trooper, why do you think people should go to Redwood National and State Parks?
Hey guys, I loved going to Redwood. It was so much fun to walk through the woods with my family. And they even let me use their walking sticks. But one of the reasons I think you should go to Redwood is to see the Douglas squirrels. There are so many. I learned that gray squirrels that we see here aren't from around here, but the Douglas squirrels are. When the gray squirrels made their way west with the travelers, they were bigger and stronger than the native Douglas squirrels, and still are, so you don't see them as much. I always look for Douglas squirrels when we are outside, and I saw a bunch at Redwood. It was cool to see them. You see, my parents often call me a distracted squirrel, so squirrels are my spirit animal. Go see what you can see by the huge trees. That's Trooper's Tips for Kids today. Peace out!
Thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, be sure to share it with your friends or even leave a review so others can find it. Follow us on Instagram at ready.set.depart. This is Ashley with Ready, Set, Depart. Remember, traveling with your family can be a disaster, but it doesn't have to be. See you next time.